Be the change you want to see. Good morning, we're back. Be the change. Your soul is opening up. Last night I started watching as the planets are transiting and things are right now. The moon is in Libra, balance and justice. It'll shift into Scorpio tomorrow. Um, so we're gonna have some planetary changes. They're shifting right now. The moon is now in Libra, and it will be shifting. Um, I started watching this last night, and I haven't finished it. I was just watching Master in the Zodiac with Ethan on the planetary stuff. But last night, Sam Jeppy, my Vedic astrologer, before I get started, um, his just look at the title of this, and he said, "Trigger warning, trigger warning. If you don't want to hear this, go ahead and click off." So he does Vedic astrology, and he talks about Ketu and Rahu. So Saturn slash Ketu is in Sagittarius, and Rahu in Ardra. Ardra. It says justice, politics, impeachment, and personal growth. So I made a comment too, and I have not finished watching it, but he did the astro charts of Donald Trump, and I found that funny because I too did the same thing, but I did it on astro chart through um tropical, not Vedic. So I am interested in hearing his side of it. I like listening to other people's views on things. So right now the moon is in Libra. If you do choose to follow Master in the Zodiac with Ethan, keep in mind that he usually does his astrology the day before. So if it says the moon is shifting into Libra, that's dated for October 2nd, tomorrow. So don't get confused by what he says and think that it's for today when the moon is actually, because I got out my little sky view light because I don't have a telescope. And you know what I was looking at before I start this? I was in the basement because you can like use this app through it just says where you are in the planets. Let me see. Because things are shifting, like the planets were not even, the Earth is totally tilting because it wasn't very long ago that the planets were going like that. I could do it actually just like that, and now they're all shifted. And Libra, how they made scales out of it, actually looks like a kite. There's like the little diamond and then a little tail coming off of it. So it'll be shifting into Scorpio tomorrow. So right now it's Libra energy. We've still got the sun's in Virgo, Mars, Venus, and Mercury. And Pluto goes back direct on the 3rd, actually. So that was part of Ethan's Pluto direct. So it'll go back direct on the 3rd. I had to go back and look that up too. So honor the divine with meditation is one day my soul just opened up. Working definitions. The principle we're working with today is stillness. It is accomplished through the act of meditation, which is stilling the physical conscious mind to all external stimuli. Continuous contemplative thought given to truth. A steady effort of the mind to know and hear the voice of the spirit from within the being, your consciousness, your conscious. The act of not doing in an attempt to expand the awareness of being. When we quiet the conscious mind to hear the divine presence. So the commentary on meditation. In the beginning, we are tiny little beings with no eyes, no ears, noses, mouth. This means we are quiet. We don't know whether we're black or white, male or female, rich or poor, attractive or not. We do not work, but we do not think of ourselves as being lazy or non-productive. We have no responsibilities to or for ourselves or others. We are not consciously aware that we know anything. Since we don't know that we know, we do not think of ourselves as being inferior for not knowing. In the beginning, we are content to grow into life, into being. People understand that we are in a growth process and they leave us alone to grow on our own. If we are lucky in our do nothing, know nothing state, the people who know about us, those who know we are growing, are happy for us and about us. They love us, sight unseen. If we are not so lucky, the people who know about us may be quite upset, frantic, as a matter of fact, but it doesn't matter. We still grow. There is still a power, a force of life in and around us that loves us, even though the people around us are frantic. It is that force of life around us that helps us to grow. The help is free, it asks for nothing in return. And you know what? Even though we look pretty weird floating around in the dark, the force stays with us, showering us with love. It is the force of life that ensures us that all of our important parts are in the right places. It is this energy of life that makes sure we have enough to eat. This forceful energy protects us in the dark, moves us through it while we're on the inside so that we can make it on the outside. The energy I'm referring to, the energy that has been with us and in us since our beginning, is the spirit of the divine. Once we're born, we forget about this divine energy of life that once put us together. Perhaps it's because we cannot see this energy with our eyes. It is much like the currents of electricity that move through the wires of the television. We plug the set in, push the on button, and presto, there's the picture. We know there is a hidden power at work, but we don't really think about it. We hardly ever talk about it. We also know that if we do not plug the television set in or turn it on, it will do absolutely nothing. We realize that the invisible presence of electricity will produce what it is we desire. The power of the divine works in exactly the same manner. It is invisible presence. No, its invisible presence is the energy we need in order to be activated. Just like the television, you must first be idle in order to be activated. Good morning, beautiful souls. When a television is activated, it will produce currents of sound that can be heard and light that can be seen. Good morning, good morning. We're touching on forgiveness. If you missed the devotionals, please watch those because we're going to talk about forgiveness too. And it will come up in this book too. This is a beautiful book. Okay. It will produce currents of sound when it's activated that can be heard and light that can be seen, just like our little smartphones. I don't think the smartphones were around when she wrote this. Let me see when this copyright is. 1998, the year my kiddo was born, 21 years ago. You, on the other hand, must turn off all currents of sound and light in order to get plugged in. You have to detach from the electronic world and everything else. I've heard so many times that 5G is actually warfare. So, a tattoo, whoever does Dutch Senses videos, uploads and backups, actually keeps posting about microwave warfare. I don't go watch that stuff. I don't. There's people that are like, oh, don't use your microwave. But yet, are they aware of all the electricity on all these electronics that we have everywhere? And even if I turn off my phone and stuff in my room, there's still Wi-Fi from here, Wi-Fi from the neighbors. It's everywhere. It's unavoidable. So I was thinking about you when we were talking about that spray the bitch away and negative energy, and how you would need a lifetime supply of it in Vegas, because that's a lot of energy going on there. It was like too much for me, all the lights and everything. It was way too much for me. Ooh, there's those no-see-ums again. They were gone in the morning. The act of meditation is the best way to get plugged in and turned on to the power of the divine. Go back to the beginning. Have no eyes, no ears, no voice. Know nothing, do nothing, be nothing. This is the best description of meditation I can offer. You must be able to allow yourself to float in a sea of darkness. This means you must learn to let go. Let go of all thoughts about yourself, your responsibilities in life, opinions about yourself, your desires, and the fear. Meditation enables you to let go of what you know. In order to meditate, you must accept that the invisible power, the force of life that moves through you, will provide everything you need. Think of it this way. You floated around in the darkness of the womb for 9 months and turned out okay. Is it so difficult to return to that state for 5, 10, 15 minutes a day? Is it not worth a try? I've not kept count of the number of times people have said to me, I don't know how to meditate. Or, it's hard to meditate. I feel stupid just sitting there doing nothing. For those who feel that way, I offer you this suggestion. You are not doing nothing. You're plugging in. You're activating the power. You are remembering from whence you came. You are moving yourself out of the way and allowing the divine force of life to move into your being. It will be difficult only if you think of it as difficult. When I first started to meditate, I had an elaborate plan. Candles, incense, a special mat and garment. It would take me 20 minutes to get ready to sit down. And once I did, I had expectations. I wanted to float like the Swami I had once studied with. My goal was to focus my energy and attention to such a degree that my 140-pound butt would be lifted up off the mat. Needless to say, it never happened. It did not because I was busy trying to make it happen. I took a desire into the act of meditation that kept my mind so occupied that it never got still enough for me to plug into the power that would help me float. Be still and know. Stillness is the key. Still the mind, still the body, still the need to be anything in order to get plugged in. Once you are plugged in, the power is activated. The energy begins to move. Anything you need to know, you will know. If there is anything you need to do, you will be instructed. You may see something, you may not. You may hear something, you may not. No matter what does or doesn't happen, you will know that you have been activated, energized, and renewed. How will you know? Trust me, you will know, and the evidence will not be the same for everyone. I am tempted to give you instructions about how to breathe, how to sit, where to sit. I will resist that temptation because I suspect the instructions will confuse you into thinking there is a right way or a wrong way. There are those who will tell you to focus on a word. For some, that is a good place to start, like a mantra. Others will say you should chant aloud or mentally. That also works. In the past, I've said you must breathe deeply, rhythmically, in order to still the mind and access the power of the divine. I still believe that, and I know it works for me. However, because I believe more in the necessity to meditate than I do in one correct way to do it, I will say simply be still and know there is a universal power seeking an outlet through you. The instrument of this power is your mind. When you still the mind to all the outside influences and internal chatter that the Toltec call the matote, the power will become activated. Be still and know there is nothing more important than the time you spend in the presence of the universal power. For those moments of the day, people must leave you alone. You must give yourself up and over to the invisible force of life. The results of this stillness, silence, and active trust will be growth. You will grow in mental ability and spiritual understanding. You will grow in awareness and ability. You will grow in consciousness. You will grow in your divinity. I do offer you one small suggestion. I suggest that you begin all meditation with prayer. It has been said that prayer is when we talk to the divine and meditation is when we listen. If we begin to if we begin by talking to the divine about what we would like to know, we will receive the appropriate response. And conversations with God say it may come in the next song you hear, it may come in the next stranger you pass, it may be in a conversation you overhear on the bus at this store. It's amazing the way the answers come. It's not always like this. People, I used to expect when somebody told me, why don't you just ask God for whatever? And I would say, what? It's just going to fall from the sky? Or I'm going to hear this big booming voice that says, Heather, you need to do this. No, it wasn't like that ever at all. Once I started to be in tune with it and flowing with it, the answers are everywhere. All right, if we begin talking, we get a response. Getting a response, however, must not be the goal. We must know that once the need is put forth in the form of a prayer, the response will be forthcoming. It may not come today, but it will come. When we take goals into meditation, we run the risk of being disappointed or discouraged. I would also suggest that meditation becomes the primary source of a spiritual nourishment in your life. In the same way we feed our bodies 3 times a day, we should feed our spirit. Just as we should never consider running our car without gas, we should not consider running our lives without the power of the divine. Think of meditation as a pit stop. You must stop everything now and then to check in and make sure all systems are go. So the commentary, if you're doing your journal, after reading today's commentary, I realized blank. The key phrases I want to remember and work with today are blank. So the morning meditation affirmation. I know there is only one life, one power, one mind, one spirit of universal intelligence, wisdom, and judgment. We know this life, power, mind, spirit is all knowing, all powerful, unlimited, abundant, joyous, and peaceful. And I want to add nothing but love. We know that this presence moves into our being as the true essence of what we are. And for this, we are so grateful. We know that right here and right now, the power and presence of the universal mind, the spirit of life, is moving through our being, connecting all fragments of thought and emotion into a consistent flow of divine intelligence. We know that right here and now, the unlimited healing presence of the divine mind is infusing our entire being with its light, its love, its perfection. For this, we are so grateful. We know that right here and now, all that is good, all that is divine, is at our disposal, and we are willing to be used as a vessel for the divine to spill forth as goodness, peace, well being, and love for our own betterment and the betterment of all mankind. We now wipe clean our emotional and mental self in order that we may be filled with light, love, intelligence, and wisdom of the divine truth for life. For this we are so grateful. And so it is. So be it. Hallelujah. In Christ's name, amen. It's a beautiful meditation. Let us remember, meditation is not hard. Meditation is necessary. Everything we need to know is available to us in stillness. When we are still, the power of the divine is active. If you want to be activated, if we want to be activated, we must plug in. In stillness, there is knowing. Be still and know that I am God is the scripture. Evening meditation journal, if you're doing your journal. I was not able to meditate today because blank. When I am able to meditate, I feel blank. I believe meditation is necessary / unnecessary because ... dot dot dot. So tomorrow is willingness. There is a new meditation meeting. See, you can even seek. I'm sure there's tons of places there in Vegas. And whoever's listening, I'm sure there's an area in your area. There's somewhere in our town. There's like a spiritual church that does meditations, and it has like the symbols of all religions there. And so my brother Archangel Michael and I decided we're going to go check out the new one tomorrow because they use a singing bowl. It was so awesome in meditation the one time that I did go, and I must have been just exhausted. I fell asleep in it, and I kept like nodding off and jerking my head awake. But you know when you're fully relaxed and you're starting to be able to do that. So if you do your meditations, they have many great meditative people on YouTube, and you can look up any kind of you can do guided, or you can do just like relaxing sounds, whether it be a waterfall or beautiful music or whatever frequency works for you. I like drums. I do like the flute. The natives use drums a lot, but I really love electronic drums and bass too. When I used to go to, but that's not for meditation. You want something that's gonna be relaxing. There's ones for clearing your chakra. My guy in Nevada, my ex, whatever you want to call him, I think that maybe one day it's gonna be divine timing, soul meeting, but right now it's just not, and I'm going with it. Um, anyway, he used to tell me that those chakra clearing, I sent him something about clearing your heart chakra, and he was like, those are FBI programming to for mind control. And I laughed. I said, if you want to believe that, you can believe that. You guys believe whatever you want to believe. It could be, but my mind just doesn't automatically think that stuff. A lot of those guided ones are even like automatic speakers, automated speakers. So you can find ones that are actual, not computer voices. You can find ones that are real voices that are calm and soothing and will suit your needs. Because I used to listen to like healing scriptures at night. I would put it on, and some of them loop and play for hours as you go to sleep. And then you get your mind relaxed and calming. There's scriptures, there's some, if you just punch in like scriptures for fear and anxiety, and scriptures for, if scriptures are what you want, you can literally Google and search for and YouTube whatever you want. Good morning, beautiful souls. We are starting the love dare now. We just did our one day. This soul just opened up. Hold my feet up. No, I'm not going to do that right now. Jimbo, good morning. Good morning. We're having a meditation. I'm not going to do that right now. How precious also are your thoughts to me. I skipped that. Day 4, love is thoughtful. How precious also are your thoughts to me. How vast is the sum of them. If I should count them, they would outnumber the sand. Out of Oh, you can read it out of my hands. I'm not doing my feet right now. I'm not going through all that right now. We're having a meditation. You can read it right out of my hands if you'd like. Take a screenshot. It'll last longer. They would outnumber the sand. Psalm 139, 17 through 18. How precious are your thoughts to me. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Love thinks. It's not a mindless feeling that rides on waves of emotion and falls asleep mentally. It keeps busy in thought, knowing that loving thoughts precede loving actions. When you first fell in love, being thoughtful came quite naturally. You spent hours dreaming of what your loved one looked like, wondering what he or she was doing, rehearsing impressive things to say, then enjoying sweet memories of the time you spent together. You honestly confessed, I can't stop thinking about you. But for most couples, things begin to change after marriage. The wife finally has her man. The husband has his trophy. The hunt is over and the pursuing done. Sparks of romance slowly burn into gray embers, and the motivation for thoughtfulness cools. You drift into focusing on your job, your friends, your problems, your personal desires, yourself. After a while, you unintentionally begin to ignore the needs of your mate. But the fact that marriage has added another person to your universe does not change. Therefore, if your thinking doesn't mature enough to constantly include this person, thank you, that I've been told I have pretty feet, doesn't include this person, you catch yourself being surprised rather than being thoughtful. Today's our anniversary. I didn't think I needed to consult you in that decision. Why would that upset you? If you don't learn to be thoughtful, you'll end up regretting missed opportunities to demonstrate love. Thoughtlessness is a silent enemy to a loving relationship. Let's be honest. Men struggle with thoughtlessness more than women. And this is written by men, so uh yes, we're not gonna have no men chat. We'll just be honest. A man can focus like a laser on one thing and forget the rest of the world. Whereas this can benefit him in that one arena, it can make him overlook other things that need his attention. A woman, on the other hand, is more multi-conscious, able to maintain an amazing awareness of many factors at once. She can talk on the phone, cook, know where the kids are in the house, and wonder why her husband isn't helping, all simultaneously. Oh, yeah, some people do. Oh, I thought that the very first comment. Oh, I thought that. All simultaneously. Adding to this, a woman also tends to think rationally. When she works on something, she is cognizant of all the people who are somehow connected to it. Both of these tendencies are examples of how God designed women to complete their men. As God said at creation, it's not good for a man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him. Genesis 2:18. But these differences also create opportunities for misunderstanding. Men, for example, tend to think in headlines and say exactly what they mean. Not much is needed to understand the message. His words are more literal and shouldn't be overanalyzed. But women often think and speak between the lines. They tend to hint. Yes, yes, we do. A man needs to listen for what is implied if he wants to get the full meaning. If a couple doesn't understand this about one another, the fallout can result in endless disagreements. He's frustrated, wondering why she speaks in riddles and doesn't just come out and say things. She's frustrated, wondering why he's so inconsiderate and doesn't add two and two together and just figure her out. A woman deeply longs for her husband to be thoughtful. Now, if women do that for the men, no, not today. And tomorrow doesn't look good either. We're focusing on healing and meditation, not feet today. Thank you for your interest in my feet. A woman deeply longs for her husband to be thoughtful. It is a key to helping her feel loved. So if a woman just kind of does this and speaks in riddles and expects to read between the lines with her husband, can you imagine she does the same on with her children? Yes, focus. Thank you, Lily. Focus, focus, focus. It is a key to helping her feel loved. When she speaks, a wise man will listen like a detective to discover the unspoken needs and desires her words imply. If, however, she has to put her pieces together for him, it steals the opportunity for him to demonstrate that he loves her. This also explains why women will get upset with their husbands without telling them why. In her mind, she's thinking, I shouldn't have to spell it out for him. He should be able to look at this situation and see what's going on here. Remember, they don't see with our eyes. People aren't seeing what we're seeing. We can't expect them to see what we're seeing either. At the same time, he's grieved because he can't read her mind, and he wonders why he's being punished for a crime he didn't know he committed. Love requires thoughtfulness on both sides, the kind that builds bridges through the constructive combination of patience, kindness, and selflessness. Not walls. We're building bridges, not walls, right? Bridging the gap. Love teaches you to meet in the middle, to respect and appreciate how your spouse uniquely thinks, and your children, whatever you're using here. If you don't have a divine counterpart at this moment, use whatever applies in your life. A husband should listen to his wife and learn to be considerate of her unspoken messages. A wife should learn to communicate truthfully and not say one thing while meaning another. A mother as well. It's easy to become angry and frustrated instead, following the destructive pattern of ready, shoot, aim. You speak harshly now and determine later if you should have said it. But the thoughtful nature of love teaches you to engage your mind before engaging your lips. Love for speaking. It filters through a grid of truth and kindness. When was the last time you spent a few minutes thinking about how you could better understand and demonstrate love to your spouse? What immediate need can you meet? What's the next event, anniversary, birthday, holiday you could be preparing for? Great marriages, great parenting, great relationships come from great thinking. I added those extras after the marriage. Today's dare is to contact your whoever you're working for, your spouse, whatever relationship you're working on, sometime during the business of the day. Have no agenda other than asking how they're doing and if there's anything you could do for them. Check here when you completed today's dare. What did you learn about yourself or your spouse by doing this today? How could you become more natural, routine, and genuinely helpful part of your lifestyle? How could this become a more natural, routine, and genuinely helpful part of your lifestyle? Philippians 1 and 3 says, I thank my God in all my remembrance of you. And Sean said, all I can think about now is how I can make her feel the love I have for her. So day 5 tomorrow is love is not rude. And I want to use like expectations as an example. When we're expecting people to see what we're seeing and what like my grandmother right now, she's living in an assisted living home and she's a very particular person. She's very, if you want to call it OCD or whatever. She doesn't like the wires showing behind her TV. She likes them all scrunched together. It's very, very particular. And so when she moved into the home, she doesn't like that they don't keep it up the way, and she keeps everything in her beautiful home that she had built in 2003 and maintained. Everything was up. Her smoke batteries and her smoke alarms were replaced like every month, and she probably would throw them away. Who knows? I don't know. It's just she raised 5 children with an alcoholic husband. And she never married again either. After she left my grandfather, one man proposed to her and she was all on her own. My grandmother was her handyman. She did all of her things. So when an 83-year-old, I do believe she's 83, has to humbly start asking people to do things for them that they've done all their lives, and she can no longer do her gardening and do her landscaping. She still goes out there and hurts herself frequently because she won't be still. I have to remind her of that scripture. Sometimes she just had this surgical implant in her back because she's got degenerative disc disorder, and she like had to pop a Vicodin before she could even get out of bed, and she wanted to get out of that. So she was just surgically implanted with this stimulator that kind of like shocks her and reminds her that she's not in as much pain as she's really in, and she couldn't even hardly get out of bed. And she still goes out there, and she's one of the only ones in her assisted living community. I don't know how many people live there. It's like one big round building, so they can still walk around in their walkers. I think it's really benefiting her to not be alone in her home and be around people her age. She's got her own little apartment, but she went from a 3-bedroom, big, beautiful home to a 2-bedroom apartment. And so she comes out, has me come over and move things around and do lots of things for her. But her expectations of what the home should be doing are kind of outlandish. And I'm sure she's driving the men that work there crazy. Can you hang up this billboard for me? And can you move this? And can you do this? And so, since nobody's there to help her, but she's just like, I just don't understand. And I had to explain to her, I just don't understand why they can't see what I'm seeing. Can't they see that this sidewalk needs fixed? And can't they see? And I was like, they don't have your eyes. How can you expect someone to see what you're seeing? They are not you. So how can you expect anybody to think how you think? They weren't, for one, raised the way you're raised. They weren't brought up with the same beliefs. They weren't. And so even she was brought up raised Catholic, and her relatives actually, like her great grandmother, are straight Italian. They've got straight Magdalena, Catalina names, straight from Italy. So it's some really deeply ingrained Catholicism going on there. And she's just got it's I have to approach her with caution, just like I approached the CBD stuff. I have to really think about things before I open my mouth so that I'm not thoughtless. In her mind, with her anxiety, and she just got her dog registered as an emotional support dog, and she can take her now on the plane and stuff like that. I really wish I could get that for my dog. Then I could ride with her back on the bus, but I can't do that since she's a Nevada resident at the moment, and I can't. I don't know. Maybe I could. I've got her paperwork, huh? And then I could just ride the bus back with her. Interesting. I'll think about that, because I don't want to put a dog who's got severe anxiety on a plane. I think it would really traumatize my poor little dog that's already got trauma. So I got a new book. I'm going to wrap this up. We do not have the eyes of others. They do not have our eyes. We cannot expect them to see or think or feel what we're feeling. But Brene Brown is one of my favorite shame researchers. Brene Brown, she wrote the book. Let me see if there's a list. She wrote Daring. They're probably not in this book. This, I think, was one of her originals. Yep, it's not in here. She wrote Rising Strong and Daring Greatly, and they're really, really beautiful. So she's a shame researcher and how shame keeps us very, very sick. So when I first read this in prison, I literally like write whole books down when they really resonate with me and stuff really clicks. I like can't stop myself from writing down, like I really wanted it ingrained with me. And in prison, you don't have smartphones, you don't have laptops, you don't have all that stuff. So journaling and writing becomes very important. So I think I'm going to start instead of the voice of knowledge right now. Let's see how long these chapters are. I could go through those. And it's called The Gifts of Imperfection. And it was actually featured on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. I think I like a lot of Oprah's guests that she has. Ayan Levan Zant's been on there, but I don't agree with all the money making schemes and all of the stuff that these high paid people have gone. I think that all of these resources should be available for free for those who can't afford to do all the and purchase all of that stuff. And books are very important to me. I was just talking to this delightful new brother last night about, do you think the grid's going to go out, and what would happen if the grid went out and nobody had Google, or just the internet? Say the internet's gone. You have no more YouTube. You have no more none of that stuff. I know that I have all of the beautiful books that have helped me and done so much for me, and even survival books. Like I've got a book now about flowers and wild things in North America, not Native America, North America, and things like that. So I think it's important that we know, like, say the grid went out, say we did have these things. Would it be wise to have information on edibles you can eat in your area that are native to your area? Absolutely. To know these things and how people survived before the days of the internet, before the times where we rely solely on Google and solely on YouTube and Facebook and all these other things, which can be great. This is a very great platform for learning much of this stuff. But say the internet's gone one day and there's no more Heather Dawn or Healing from Dusk Till Dawn, and it's all gone. Are people going to freak out? I'm sure that my 3,500 friends, of the ones that were listening and following and actually very active in the live stuff that I was doing, I'm sure they are like, what the flip? Heather just disappeared. What happened? I hope she's okay. I actually had Deacon Ray seek me out and try to give me other social media platforms that I should join. I've said, Ray, come join me on Facebook, because we exchanged emails the day I lost my second account, and then I created 4 more accounts after that, and after 6 I gave up. And so we exchanged emails, and he's actually raising his niece, and he's a deacon in recovery for over 10 years from pills. And so he's a ordained deacon now, and he made contact with me and tried to get me to come to other social media. And losing Facebook is one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I was literally sucked in the vortex, and I spent all of my time on social media. And so I'm trying to even detach from that. I can't do everything I'm doing here and do it again on Periscope, which is the only way you can go live through Twitter. And so I tried to invite some people that were listening and started following me yesterday, but I don't, not anymore. It was an addiction. It was a distraction more than anything. If we're being honest, it was a distraction. I don't go into Twitter very much. I've met some really cool people, especially over in the UK, telling me things that are going on over there, especially with their British monarchy. And they're very beautiful divine beings, but they're caught up in everything that's going on in the world. So I had some people follow me on Periscope and showed them a link to my page, said, come in. We would love to have you. We would love to have your voice. We would love to hear, because one of them was named the Lion of Judah. And I said, oh, you're in the right place. And there were some beautiful divine spiritual beings coming in, but they they didn't follow over. So that's their choice. I'm not going to waste my energy repeating and saying the same things and then get confused as to what I said on Periscope and YouTube. So that's their choice if they want to come on over, or they'll be divinely guided when the time is right and perfect. So you guys have a beautiful day, but I think I'm going to start that. I went ahead and ordered it. I was looking at Rising Strong and Daring Greatly, and I went with the Gifts of Imperfection for right now, because this is one of those Hazelden books that I've talked about, which is where the language of letting go, and they're recovery books too. Yes, Daring Greatly. How the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead. And she's a very, very amazing, beautiful soul. When she tells people she's a shame researcher, they say, oh, they don't even want to talk about what she does anymore. We don't even want to talk about shame. But it's our shame and our secrets that keep us sick. So I'm going to shut this down. The bugs are starting to come out like crazy, and I'm going to have to take this stuff in. So we will meet again later. I'll probably start the book today. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. A guide to living a wholehearted life. So I have many, many sources I use to expand on everything. You are welcome, beautiful soul, all you beautiful souls. I thank you so much for your support. I thank you so much for joining us and being here, so we can all remember who we are. We have to forget who we were taught we were in order to be who we are, to be our authentic self. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day.